Come on in and
Hey, this is Sir Charles Carey. I want you to join me on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for the Tru-Mu Podcast. True Music. That's where we talk about all things.
I'm a musician, singer, songwriter, producer, engineer.
All things creative.
Me and my co-host, Carl T. Smith, the smooth one, will be glad to hear you, glad to talk to you, answer your questions, and talk all things music. The Tru-Mu Podcast, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Be part of the energy.
Your warm embrace. I can see that thing that makes men stop, stand still, all in denial, suffer loss of will.
Hey, we're back one more time with the Tru-Mu Podcast, where we talk about all things creative, all things innovative, and I'm here with none other than my man, Carl T. Smith, the smooth one. What it do? Oh man, how was your week, man?
Tiresome. I'm just getting back from Chicago. We did a gig in Chicago, and
Okay.
I'm
Was it one of the wineries? Was it one of the city wineries?
yeah, Chicago winery.
Nice.
We did that one there. So, running all week and traveling and stuff, and just finally getting in and trying to stay awake.
So how was it? Well, the weather wasn't too bad this past week. That was the prior week that was a little bit rough, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't bad at all.
Well, you lucky because Chicago don't take no prisoners either.
Man, listen. Yeah. Chicago, Buffalo, all the way, all the people up there near Connecticut, Canada.
Man, I tell you, it's amazing. I'm hoping that for the rest of this week, we're starting to make that turn. We're gonna cut around the corner so that we can get into better weather, and that way we can all do better traveling, be more comfortable, wear less clothes, and just get it in and get it done. Yeah. All right. Well, look, let's get this party started. Today we've got an artist, a gentleman that I met through another associate of mine because of the personal and professional development side of my life. And without further ado, we're going to bring him to the forefront and let him tell you all about the benefits of his art, his craft, the thing he loves the most. NDZABA, what's going on, my man?
Hey, thank you so much for having me on today, Charles.
All right, man. I tell you, man. It's weird how things come together, how people meet, and how one thing leads to another. But we're gonna start from the beginning, and then we're gonna bring everyone up to speed. Now, I know that you're an artist, but before we talk about your craft and your product or your services, tell us about the young version of you.
The young version of me. This is me before who I am today, right? Like,
Absolutely.
all right. So, number one, my name is NDZABA Zulu, and currently 28 years old. I was born in the Kingdom of Eswatini, which is down in Southern Africa, and recently moved to Brazil and got married and have two children. And when growing up, in a third world country, it was always just like put into us the need to strive for what we know as like conservative jobs, the safe jobs, like an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor, that kind of area. Even though I had a lot of inclinations to, the side of art, whether it was drawing, whether it was music, especially rapping. And, for many years I had to like navigate that, and I'm a believer. And so like by the Lord's leading in like recent years, I felt called back to start drawing again, which was a surprise.
So let me ask you this. Would you say that you were first compelled to lend yourself to music before any other art form?
I'd say I was compelled to do the art, the drawing stuff before the music, actually. I remember that I spent a lot more time drawing, and it was in high school when I started exploring music a bit more. It was popular among our grades where the guys were like coming up with punchlines. And at this time, Lil Wayne was popping. And so punchlines were just like the thing, trying to like be smart with words and stuff like that. And I liked the artistry of it. And a few other artists that then just like led me down this path of actually, taking it a bit more seriously. And so I found myself.
So you were drawn to art first, but you got sidelined to music, then you came back to art?
Yeah, you could say that. And all of this is just like side stuff. I took music so seriously. I went by, the artist name RK, which just stands for Rap King. I made mixtapes and would go out, perform in places, and even as recent as like 2 years ago, got like equipment so that I can get back into that. But like by the leading of the Lord, was like come back to and was like, all right then. So here we are back again.
So Carl, what do you got? What do you got for Zaba?
So when you started out doing art, what type of art were you drawing?
I was drawing just like your simple, plain, cars, people. It was actually
stick figures, not stick figures, right? Nah.
We graduated.
I'm only messing with you. I'm messing. No cars.
They say art is subjective, so like there's some good looking stick figures out there.
You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
What's wrong with stick figures? I like stick figures.
So yeah, you was drawing. You was drawing what?
I was drawing, like the basic simple stuff I think any kid would draw at the time. Though I feel it was my older sister who really inspired me to draw even more. So we entered a period where like my parents weren't buying us many toys, and it was like, okay, what the heck do we do now? And she's creative enough to say, okay, I'm gonna just make my own toys, basically. Mm-hmm. So drew up a little family, cut them out, and then she's got brand new toys. And I was like, man, that's cool. And so I did my version, which was wonkier and not as polished as hers. But then that definitely set me on a path to like, my favorite cartoon shows and trying to draw them. And then comic books as well started to inspire me more. And so I definitely lean more towards drawing people than I do drawing, landscapes, environments, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Cool. So, you mentioned cartoons, right? You did cartoon characters, and all that other stuff like that. Have you back then created your own cartoon characters, or because I mean, as an artist myself, I draw stick figures, but I put a cape on it, So I mean, your own type of superheroes and stuff like that as a drawing. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which ones did you like?
Quite a number. I'd say number one was definitely Spider-Man. He's still like my favorite superhero to this day. But then there was also some anime like Dragon Ball Z, other cartoon shows like Megas XLR, Transformers. I definitely leaned more towards the people though than Transformers. I found the mix stuff a bit too complicated for me. But answering your question, Carl, about like if I made my own superheroes, I did. Just that they were very like very, very much of like a carbon copy. Really wore like the influences on my sleeve type of characters, and especially with like shows like Ben 10 that had like one of the aliens that I liked, but then I turned one of the aliens into just like a protagonist, my own version, and stuff like that. So yeah, I did definitely make my own superheroes.
Nice. Okay. Mm-hmm. So all right, cool. So after that, when you started doing your drawings and you started making all your different things, you went from that to doing what?
I went from that to doing... Sorry, you can continue.
No. No, I didn't. I didn't know if you got it yet. I was just going to try to elaborate on that. You went from,
Okay.
drawing your
Yeah.
peoples into like, not doing it and doing something else, or you know what I mean? Like, what did
Okay. Yeah.
you do after?
So in the phase of just like sketching stuff, I then eventually started like making my own comics, and drawing comics was then something that inspired me to keep drawing. And now at this point in my life, like the music stuff was also starting to like converge at the same time. Like the last project that I made art wise was, a comic book, like making my own interpretation of the Spider-Man story, just like how it starts and everything. I lost the book. I don't know where it is, but I know that like losing the book is what demotivated me as well to continue. And then I became more serious with music. So then at this point, the drawing was starting to like really lessen. And I also like didn't help myself in getting like proper art education. I drew everything just off of like at home, going off my own inspiration. But then when I wasn't getting perspective right and I wasn't getting certain things like fundamentals down, it was discouraging like in the long run. So it's like I was playing myself basically.
Yeah, but then that destroyed your creativity trying to get that formal lessons and stuff. Listen, I don't do anything formal. I'm gonna let you know that now. You know what I'm saying? So I understand, I've made many attempts to get formal lessons. Once you did that, then it just destroyed whatever I was doing, because whatever you was doing was working, but it supposedly is not right. It was right. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. I hear where you're coming from. Yeah. But could I like, interject a bit?
Sure. No, interject. Go.
Okay. All good. Well, this is now like, from my point of view, what I was like, when I wasn't getting good at the thing that I was trying to capture, I knew that like that needed work. So less about just like my interpretation of things, but in my mind it's like I want it to look this way, but I can't get it on the page like that. And so what killed me when looking back was just like the lack of fundamentals that could have helped me then take it into my own direction, so I like
that's
even
realistic, man. That is so realistic. I can't tell you how many notebooks or pieces of paper I would tear up, like not only rip up like that, but I was so determined to get certain things right. I would clean my eraser because I was erasing constantly. So I couldn't get the finger movement or shape right, or the shape of the feet right. And I'm like, oh no, that's not right. And then I would get mad, and then I would be erasing and trying to redraw it. And back then I would also draw things, whereas you didn't have to show the hand. So if I would show the guy doing like this, well, you don't see the hand in the picture. But that ruins. I really didn't want that. I want the hand in the picture, but I couldn't make it good, or the feet, or whatever. So the fundamentals are important, but I think kind of like what both of you are saying, it's like you do it your own way. But if you learn formally and you find that the unconventional way works, then lean to the unconventional way, because your own rules, you know what I mean?
I've something just to add on to what you were saying, Charles, about the hiding stuff. People in the comic books industry actually do this today. Like, your professional artists, if they're not good at drawing feet, they'll cover the feet under like a panel, or like they'll put like some bush, in certain areas that they just don't want to draw, or they're just not that good at drawing.
I'll get somebody to draw feet for me, man. Look, here's one of my designs. I'm not really good anymore, but my grandson and I, we were working out together, and we got a drawing pad. He had one, and we sat together and got pencils, colored pencils, a set for him and a set for me. And we would sit there and just, oh, wow, that's cool. He would look at mine. Yeah, that's cool, Grandpa. And we were going back and forth. And when, we was just having fun. I still love drawing, but because of the things I do, I don't have a lot of time for it. But, the question that a lot of people want to know, how good were you, man?
Well, I would say I was okay, right? Around like the people around me would say, "Man, you've got a talent, you've got a gift." But
Right.
I fell into like something that I call the passion trap, and that's basically when you're waiting for inspiration to finally hit you in order to make something. And so like as long as I was depending on that determined my consistency in drawing, and I believe that's one of the things that also contributed in me like eventually quitting for almost a decade, right?
Mm,
And so I feel like a lot of people talk about talent, and then there's been this debate recently about talent versus discipline, right? And I do feel, especially in the past year that I've been back, that discipline will always outpace talent, but talent together with discipline can really like shine in a beautiful way. So I would say back then I was decent enough. You could say that there was potential for something to grow, but definitely by lack of having that discipline, I didn't go as far as I could have. But I definitely pulled out some decent stuff. Like people would want to see my pictures, and funny enough, I just remembered I did commissions as well, like just as a
really?
kid playing around with the idea of entrepreneurship. I wasn't strong though, like with sales stuff. So like I ended up drawing stuff for people for free because I was enjoying to do it anyways. But like it was decent enough to that level, you know.
Mm.
So, what about charcoal perspective? But portraits, still life. Did you have a area that you like more than another?
I'd say now that I'm back figure drawing, and I've been figure drawing with charcoal, I've definitely been enjoying, um, understanding and having a different relationship with the human body. I find it so intricate and so complex and so detailed, and like the way in which you interpret that is different to how you see it in real life. And I think that's what I like about art, like just in terms of people say art imitates life. I say art expresses life. It's
Mhm.
not meant to be a one for one, but just like an expression or an extension of something that the tangible world can't seem to say when you look at it, as it is. So figure drawing is something I've been into a lot, and I'd like to get into perspective in the near future.
Now, when you say figure, you're talking about drawing people, correct?
Yeah, drawing people,
So,
drawing people.
do you also draw where you're showing the how would you say the definition? For instance, if I'm in the light and the light shining on me, do you not draw where in your way that you convey the art, you can see the light shining off the face and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's playing around with values. I know enough of it, like just like the basic stuff, to pull that off. But what I've found to be much more effective for me is like learning one thing at a time. So I mean, Carl can tell you that, like, when it comes to art, like, if you were to go like the formal way, it's such an umbrella term because there's so many different disciplines
Mhm.
that you can learn and make you proficient at one thing. Like a comic book artist has to learn perspective, they have to learn figure drawing, they have to learn shading, they have to learn composition, color
Mhm.
theory, you
That's
name
right.
it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so like I found that taking things one step at a time. So figure drawing, just learning how to simplify the human body to always get it right in proportion at different angles is the focus. And then I can build on top of like the value stuff, because even if I'm not so good at getting the shading so right, at least it looks like a human being, like you can tell that that's a person. So that's currently where I am. Yeah.
So, do you know what this is? And don't say a joint. It's not a joint. I don't smoke anymore. That was a long time ago.
That's
No,
a hell.
I can't tell. I don't know what this is.
This is
It
the
reminds me of like a thing, like I don't know. Here in Brazil, like it's kind of like a thing to wrap, a loaf of bread.
yeah, exactly. When we was young, man, we would draw and we would get all of our paper together and we would stick it in there and make our own comic book. We put it through the hole, and then you go from one side to the other side, and you
Nice.
do your own
Well,
homemade comic books, man.
Yeah.
back in the day, man, you know, we walked to school up 5 miles and backwards in the snow, and we would do all these crazy things just to get from one point to another point. And because we didn't have supplies, we'd find little ties like these from the bread wrappers,
Wow.
and we cut down trees and make our own paper. And no, I'm just kidding.
Nah, he almost had, yeah. If it wasn't for Carl, I would have believed that.
I'm sitting here going like, I hope he's not taking this in. I hope he's not.
So, you know, Carl could go into this. My one question to you would be like, how do you look at artwork today because of technology versus traditional approaches? What's your perspective on that?
Well, it's so funny because, like, I mean, if you want to go deeper, we can even like speak on the topic of AI, because that's been a contention in the art space of like what is it to like say that art is originally mine and stuff like that. But from my perspective, I feel like when it comes to traditional and digital, I don't see necessarily a replacement of one form to the other, but like an expansion of the ecosystem. I see like just an adding on of just one of the ways in which I can interpret my art. I would still say that traditional is the strongest because there's certain things that like digital can't teach you, and it gives you bad habits. So like you can correct the shape of, you know, whatever you're drawing just by like selecting it and resizing it. You draw on paper, when you make a mistake, you have to address that now, you know? Or sometimes it ruins the drawing and you gotta start again. And I think that like creates a better discipline than having it easy where you can just undo or you can just erase and stuff like that. Like it has its benefits, and I'll definitely explore it. But I feel like the best way to get started for anyone who's looking to either come back or is interested in drawing for the first time is definitely traditional. Like, and it's the entry level is so low. It's literally a pencil and paper. I don't know how cheap that is compared to like a drawing tablet that now you gotta learn the software. Now you gotta learn all this stuff that like, you know, isn't relevant. Yeah. So then when AI is concerned, it's an interesting topic because then you just go into, you know, the whole debate of like, but who made the art? Was it AI or me? And then it comes to be about intention. But I believe that, you know, AI is only going to challenge artists to go deeper in terms of what does it really mean to be an artist. I think the way people are playing with it now isn't really tapping into the potential of what it can help us express in the future. So that's something I definitely want to explore myself and also help, you know, some of the clients that I work with, because I believe like art shapes our world, and I want to help the people who are going to shape the world of tomorrow.
Well, as you see this image right here of Carl and I, we did a show in New York, and we literally performed like this. You know, we were like up there. You know, they thought we were Muppets or something, man. No, man. But you know, I have a reasonable respect for technology as it relates to art, but I agree with you from the perspective that I think the old school, you know, people should learn the traditional before they just gravitate to the technology, because the nuances are lost and they may even not have a true respect for the art form. You know, just like it's almost like, I wouldn't say just like, almost like music itself. If I just take samples and put them together, which people are doing, and make these samples the entire composition, what about the drummer? What about the piano player? What about the horn player? I mean, there's merit in using samples, but I think at least have a working knowledge of how music should come together. You know, the respect the way it moves and how, you know, we hear it and how you put it together so that we hear it in a way that it's not so mechanical, you know.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, that even reminds me of like one of your songs that you released. I listened to Kiss Me, and I noticed how, like, certain things I wouldn't have thought to do from my lack of, knowledge with like musical instruments, where you added, it's maybe it's the trunk with the instrument in certain parts that you sang the chorus, that you now have like the creative liberty of doing, because you got to know about the traditional means of doing it. And so it definitely empowers an artist in whatever medium to play around and really like make it your own thing, really hone in and like, this is what I want to do and I can do it this way. And I'm not limited, like you're saying, by like samples, or if the sample is good, or things like that. Yeah.
Do you use any modern art or technology in your art?
Nah, the only modern thing I'd say I'd use is the computer to look at like photo references or watch courses, right? But like the drawing itself, it's with my charcoal pencil over here, and I got a stump, I got, a kneadable eraser and all that stuff. But I work completely traditionally right now.
Now, when I grew up, charcoal was actually charcoal. Now, have they changed? Is charcoal colored now? Is there such thing as colored charcoal, or no? No, actually, that's not true. There was some. There was some. I'm thinking about chalk. Yeah, is there any kind of colored charcoal or something similar?
I think there's something similar, like something that like almost mimics the charcoal, and I know it depends on the brand, but yeah, people are still using charcoal. Like I have a charcoal pencil, but I also have charcoal sticks, because like they definitely give off different, textures, and like let you express in different ways. And I think when you have a few more tools in your arsenal, it allows you to play around a bit. Sometimes I just like using the charcoal stick itself, like just getting something on the page and then messing around with my hands, getting them dirty and all, and seeing what comes out of it. But yeah, like those tools are still being used today, and some of them are actually even more costly than like your traditional HP pencil, for example.
Yeah, I know that when my sister was about 2 or 3, an artist came to our home and did a picture of her, and he was using colors. I forget what. I don't think it was oils. It was some kind of pencils. Was definitely wasn't crayon. Maybe just colored pencils. But at one point, I remember him shading parts of her face and then using like a tissue to wipe them up, and create the highlights in her face, and then the eraser was to actually allow it to be resembling or to convey the light.
Yes.
And
yes.
I never forgot that, because I don't know, I guess that's just the geek in me, and things we hold on to.
Yeah.
What you got, bro?
So you don't use any other than to visualize different things with your computer. Do you have any plans on getting into any of that electronic or technical? What do you call it? What would you call it? Computer stuff?
Yeah, like the digital drawing, basically.
Digital. There you go. See, don't get old. That's all I got to tell you.
Well, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't think it's up to me.
Well, it is. I'm only 21, so I don't know. What y'all talking about, but all right. No, but any plans in the future for digital? Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Part of the reason that like I started with traditional is because it just felt like the easiest way to come back into drawing, especially after it'd been such a long time. And I think, many people, when wanting to come back into any kind of habit, the mistake is making the entry level so high, like the barrier to it, instead of making it as easy as possible just to get your foot off the ground. Like you don't need the best sneakers to start jogging outside. Like if you've got a pair of shoes, it's enough to get started. And so I approached it with that mentality, just like getting it started. And now that I'm becoming proficient, and the beautiful thing is the skills transfer. It's not as if like once I start digitally, I lose all the stuff that I learned from paper. It's like you just get used to, translating it a bit differently, but you end up drawing the same way, if not better in some ways. So down the line, I definitely look forward to learning digitally, because there's so many benefits to it. Like if you make a comic book today, how do you get it printed if you're working on paper, as opposed to like at least having everything on the computer to color it and all that stuff. And you can even sell your product digitally. You don't have to wait to find a publisher to, print it. So there are benefits I personally see having, and I definitely want to explore that down the line.
So how long was your break?
My break? Almost a decade. So I think the last time I ever drew anything seriously was in 2013. And every other time after that was just like a doodle, a sketch, just like nothing serious, until like as recent as last year. So it's been almost a decade.
So what art form do you mostly lend yourself to, or what are you trying to brand yourself as? What type of artist, or an artist that does what?
So I actually brand myself as an art instructor because I help once aspiring artists fall back in love with drawing again. Basically, people who went through what I went through in a different form or way, but there's something that's just still pulling them back to want to, fulfill that, in their life, fulfill that void. Because when it comes to art and creatives, I don't know about you guys, but like, it's not something you can easily abandon or push to the wayside. There's always so many things around you that are trying to like call you back to doing it in some way, shape, or form. So those are the people.
Choir, man, you're preaching to the choir. We're spreading the art form, man.
Yeah. So those are the people that I help. And now when it comes to like my own art, then that's something that I explored. For now, it's just drawing people, and like I've drawn a few portraits of my wife. Like one was for a birthday, another one was of like our anniversary. So those are the things I dabble with. But I have personal projects and plans that are not so much with my brand, but just personal projects related to drawing. But mainly what I do is like teach people and help them to get back on track, fall in love with drawing again, and keep that fire burning with a realistic, routine that's according to their lifestyle.
So is your goal to find clients or find people that love art but have kind of like fallen out and are trying to get back and don't have anyone to teach them? Is that what you're trying? Okay.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
Is it a course or what is it? What do you call it?
I have a 5-day challenge called the Drawing Comeback Challenge. And so what it does is we start by, first of all, like looking at what are the reasons why you quit in the first place? Things that you may be aware of or not, whether it's environment, whether it's the education system. There's so much research that I discovered many things that work against creatives being creative in the systems that we have in place. And so once we get clear on the reason why you quit or why you didn't even take that first step, right? Like how many people felt like maybe they weren't talented enough, so they didn't even get started. Then we look at the science of drawing, which is looking at all the practical ways in which you can actually become a better artist by simply practicing certain skills. Like there are certain fundamentals that, regardless of what inspires you to draw, will make you a better artist. Like these are just universal principles. And then lastly, we then look at what I call the drawing comeback method. And this is what I basically coined up as the way in which I not only created a routine to keep myself drawing, but also enjoy it too, because that's the most important part I feel about, coming to drawing. I'm sure Carl can attest to some people he may know who may have taken art seriously, but then got burned out, or, it got so serious.
He's young. What does he know? He doesn't know anything. He's too young, man.
It's true. It's true.
I heard it, he told me he's an artiste, so I'm taking from that. I'm sure he knows
that he is, yeah.
And so because we don't want to lose the fun of it, we want to have that childlike joy, but we also want to make work that we'd be proud of. So that's where the drawing comeback method comes in. And then the next step is like, where do we go from there? And so giving you clarity on what kind of career would you like to pursue based on your natural interests and not based on society and pressure and trends, and then I also have a next step for people who would like to go further with me in an art mastery program. And so those are the things that I have set up for people who would like to come back to their first love.
So have you done shows or things like that?
That's something I'm actually looking to do now. I've been reaching out to some people just to like get this message out to them, because you know this too, Charles. Like you are a national speaker, you are a peak performance expert, and I'm sure you've gone to many people, and this is about service. This is about being able to help people who have this void and who have this need. And so my desire now is just to get my product to the people who need it the most as much as I can. Just showing up so they can get what they need.
Hey, can I coach you for a second?
Please.
I don't want anyone to hear this. Come closer, look. Sometimes you might have to do it yourself, Just take your time, plan it out, and just do it yourself. And that way, you're in charge or in control of all the nuances, tickets, the room, the space, everything, man. Not really, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. What he's saying is true. You guys, sometimes, it's nothing like handling whatever it is yourself to get you forward. Nobody will take you serious until they see you do it.
Exactly. That's true.
And then whatever mistakes you make, it's not a mistake. It's just a learning opportunity to do it better the next time. And then if you do it on a more formal, on a larger platform, someone else's or just a larger platform, now you're learning because you've done, what you did that worked, what you did that did not work. Now you're seeing it on the bigger platform. Now that's more education for you, so that when you decide to do your next one, now you're learning even more and you're becoming more equipped.
Yeah, no, 100%. So if I'm getting you correctly, it's like, don't always wait for opportunities. You can create opportunities.
Right.
Never wait for opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean do it recklessly. It just means that, okay, think about what you want to do. Now, if it's not coming quick enough, say, okay, how can I do this myself? So you don't want to rent and put yourself in debt, but you want to say, okay, let me do a small event and see how this will work. You get a space, you decide how you want to do it. Is it going to be just you, or is it going to be you and some local people? And then you think, okay, how long is it going to be? A 2-hour, 4-hour event? Okay, how do I want to start it? Introductions, is each person going to have a few moments to speak? Whatever it is it going to be free to get my feet wet, if that makes sense? And then maybe now that I got experience, I can charge a small fee, whatever it is. There's so many ways that you can do it.
Yeah.
And just consider it, but take your time, plan it out. And hopefully your wife can help you out if possible. Even if that's just taking tickets or writing people's name that come to the door, getting their contact information, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate the counsel. It will definitely have to be online, because here in Brazil, like most people speak Portuguese and not English. So my target audience, where they live, is basically on the internet. So it's still stuff that I'll then just apply in an online format. So
¿Qué tú hablas?
Nah, that's español. Eu falo português.
Más o menos. But I work around it as best as I can. So who are your influencers or influences?
My influences in terms of art, man, I'll go with like the most recent, the most impactful in like my comeback to drawing. That's Patrick J. Jones. He's a fantasy illustrator, and he's also a teacher. And what I love about the way he draws and teaches is he makes it so easy. He makes it feel like this thing is so practical. Why have I been overcomplicating it? And I feel like that's so empowering to any student. I want to give the same thing to my students. So Patrick Jones is a strong inspiration. Steve Houston as well. These are both painters, but they're also great and excellent drawers. And then on the comic book side, we have people like Jim Lee. There's John Buscema, who's no longer with us, but he was very impactful in what he did with some Marvel comics back in his run at the time, and also the Conan comic books as well that were popular at the time. Yeah, so that's just a few from the top of my head.
Okay, I got you. So you have a new product or a book or something that you're promoting, or a course?
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Draw Again, Dream Again: How to Reignite Your Artistic Passion and Keep the Fire Burning. This is a book that I released a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, where is it available at?
It's available on Amazon. You can get the paperback and you can get the audiobook. The audiobook is coming out soon. You can get the ebook and the paperback on Amazon right now.
Do you have like a something with you? We could take a look at it right there. Can you like hold up something on the screen, or we could take a look at? Like, is it something you have a physical copy?
Nah, my physical copy is still on the way, but
Okay.
Yeah, and it's one of the benefits of using like Amazon because they print on demand, basically.
Yeah.
So I got my copy coming soon, but I don't know if you have access to the link, but once they go on there, they'll be able to see it, front, back,
Gotcha.
and all info they need.
So let's see. So are you going to have a launch when you get copies, or what's the plan?
The plan right now,
Get out.
yeah, the plan right now is just to get it as spread out as much as possible. Like I mentioned before, my audience and platform is mainly online, and since I am a startup entrepreneur, my budget is tight, and so it's looking at the most effective ways today that get the message heard. So things like putting it up on promotion or on meta ads. Like I had a promotion run last week that helped garner some sales, and even after the promotion was done, so we have almost up to 50 copies, and this is being self-published. And for me, what I'm happy to hear or see is the interest. Like people have interest in the product, and that's great. And so it's really just showing up. And in today's climate, the best way to market is to be on podcasts like Carl. I don't know if you know this guy. He's like a really accomplished man who goes by the name of Charles Carey.
Never met him.
But
What I heard about him is not good. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Oh man, don't believe everything you hear. That's all I'm gonna say. Right?
I don't know. I don't know.
So being on platforms like this and connecting with people just so that the message gets heard, because most people consume podcasts and they like this kind of environment where people are talking and getting insights like this. That's the way I'm going forward with it. So it's just showing up to as many people as possible and letting them know that the solution to their problem is here.
I'll tell you, it's funny. Even though I'm a musician and songwriter and so forth, sometimes I really like a good talk show, man.
Yeah.
Like when I'm on YouTube, certain shows I can just watch for hours. Just because I just find the conversation interesting. Like I watch what's called R&B Money Podcast with a couple of artists named Tank and Jay Valentine, and they bring a lot of musicians, songwriters, engineers on, and they talk about people they've worked with, what they're doing, what they've done, and it's just interesting to find out how people have come up, some of the challenges that they've had, and I guess it's relaxing and it's relatable too,
Oh yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Like I mean, on my end, it's obviously the drawing, the visual art stuff, but just listening to all these different insights and how people think differently and stuff you never considered, those conversations, they're definitely edifying, and helpful in ways that you don't even think, right? Because it changes you in some ways, in good ways
Yeah,
too.
they say music soothes the savage beast. I think art kind of does that as well. People go to art galleries, different types, of course, but they go to
Yeah,
art
yeah,
shows, art galleries, and just to be able to observe something and see what you get out of it does
yeah,
something to the brain. It just gives you perspective, gives you a moment of pause that you can just take it in, that someone else had a blank canvas or had a wall or had an idea.
yeah.
And they were able to make that idea come to life. Like Carl and I know when we write songs, yeah, sometimes
Mhm.
we're influenced by other songs we've heard or other songs that we've written, but
Of
it's just a
course.
great feeling when we start out and we are putting the different elements together to make the song. And when it's all said and done, you can sit back and go like, wow, that's actually not so bad. You hear the singing and the instruments and how everything
Yeah,
is interwoven. It's like, whoa, I did that thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
You said,
and you're
Carl,
touching. Sorry.
Hmm?
and
No.
can you speak to that as well?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, you're touching on something that's what most people miss when it comes to like creating anything, right? Especially in the art space, because it's not about the product, it's about the process. Like there's a saying from allegedly, I don't know, uh Howard Ikemoto, and it says, don't learn to draw, but draw to learn. And I say, when you draw to learn, you love to draw because the joy of it is hidden in the process. It's
Mhm.
not, yeah, just about the final product. It's what you were describing. All of that stuff just coming together.
Is that a Japanese philosopher?
I believe so. I believe so. He might be. He might be. But yeah, it just reminded me of that. It's
Yeah.
the way people miss it. That final product, it's good, to look at, I guess, but it shouldn't be the reason why you like to draw. It should be some kind of motivation, but not the main thing. And even one book that I'd recommend to people is called Mastery. I have it here at the back. Yeah, it's just called Mastery by George Leonard. It touches on this stuff, like enjoying the plateau and those moments that inevitably come when you're learning anything, and that consistency and learning to just keep on going through those moments and not making it about the end result actually make you even better than you would be if you kept making it about the end goal, because there's no getting there at the end, right? Like,
Mhm.
We got a little shameless plug, and then we're gonna come back and ask you a couple of questions. Today happens
okay.
to be it's been long awaited. We got a new song out, or a song that needed a new video, and finally we got it together and it's ready to debut earlier this morning. I think like around 12 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. And it's
Let's
called It's
go.
You. So we're gonna play this song and then we'll come right back and ask you a couple of questions.
Sounds good.
When I think of you, I get warm inside. My head starts spinning, then I open my eyes. I don't know how things are gonna be. What I do know, I want you right here with me. It's you, the one I down on bended knee. I'm feeling kinda down, about to beg and plead. Just know there ain't no limits on what I want. We can both be the boss if that's what you want. Put your guards down, you know it's time to chill. I know you feel my heart, you know the feeling is real. It's you. It's you. It's you.
And that's all she wrote. It's you. Now let's see. How do I get rid of it? Okay, there it is. Yeah, man. So we're getting ready for release later, hopefully in this quarter or the early part of the very next upcoming quarter with the new album. But back to you, sir. Back to you. Is I have a question for you. These are kind of lighthearted questions. What's your favorite food, man?
Favorite food?
Yeah.
Man, I wish you asked my wife. That's hard for me to like put down. Like you put something on my plate, I'll eat it. But I easily think of things like a good steak, like meat and or chicken as well. Like I do like some grilled chicken more than fried chicken. Yeah, I'd say like I'm in a meat phase. That's how I put it. I'm in a meat phase.
What about you, Carl?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Chicken. I do chicken. I mean, I kind of eat to live, so it's not not one of them things. Like
Right.
I
All right.
as long as I'm living, I'm eating.
There you go. What about your Zaba? What's your favorite if you have music artist or music type?
Music type. I don't know if the right word to describe this is eclectic, but like I definitely just like whatever sounds good. So like my favorite musician for a time has been a DJ called Bonobo, and he's made like it's mainly instrumental kind of music, but like they can go from sounding electronic to sounding really like organic, traditional, like inspired from like either in Asia, wherever he goes in the world. And so I just love the experimentation and the willingness to take that next step with his artistry. So he stands out when it comes to rap. Eminem was my biggest influence. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Kanye West as well. But like lately I've also been listening to like a lot of artists I like in the Christian hip hop space, like Abel, KB, Halvey, DC3. Like these guys are definitely like very inspiring guys, even on the come up. Yeah.
Okay. Is there an instrument you like as far as music? Any particular instrument?
I'm in between the guitar and the keyboard. I'd like to learn the guitar. I think between both. Yeah. I'd like to learn that one.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
Okay. Money green.
Money green. Like that.
What's your favorite pastime? Like if you have, when you're not on, what do you like doing?
I am spending time with my wife, and we are playing video games or watching a series. And if it's not that, then I'll be drawing. So those
She
are my
must be close
pastimes.
by, huh?
She?
So she must be close by, huh?
Nah. This is a true story.
No, I would say the same thing. No, I really do. I think and this is off the cuff, not all men, but I think some men are changing. There was a time, I know when I grew up and Carl grew up, men were so machisto and so macho that
Yeah,
man, I deal with my woman when I get there. But nowadays, I think if you're being real, some men are more in touch
yeah,
with their feminine side, and that's not a diss. There's more realistic, more down to earth, more in touch
yeah,
with the emotional side, because at the end of any day, we're all people. And
yep.
when a man finds a good woman, he finds a good thing, as the Bible has
Oh yeah,
said. So if you have a good thing, why would you not want to spend time with that good thing? And in this case,
exactly.
your helpmate. So
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I look at, all the ways in which my wife appreciates just like my presence
Oh
and,
yeah.
being intentional. And it makes me wonder, like, how could it even work if I'm not there, especially like even when it comes to the kids, we have two baby girls, there's some things where I've realized that being an authority and taking leadership over certain things that like maybe she's struggling to sleep by herself, she's being badly accustomed to always being in mom's arms or on mom's bed, and I come there and make sure that we go through the process of having her sleep by herself, and that my wife needs that strength. So like it really like makes me go, how could she even do this without me? And I recognize how much I need to be there, and
Oh
present.
yeah.
And yeah, like even there's a scripture that motivates me a lot, which is to love her like Christ loves the church. And when I think of all the ways that he loves me and what he does to me and how I can confide in him, I need to be that space for my wife as well. And it's definitely a sacrifice to self. It's not like, I'm sure you can attest to this yourself, Charles. It's not like a strength that you just like you are that way. It's really a process of becoming, you know.
Well, I know for myself, I'm a little bit of an oddball. I think I was wired like that. Now, I may not have
Mm,
always honored it, but I think I was really wired that way. And until I got to a certain point in my life, I wasn't able to fully act upon it, because the person you're
mhm.
with determines on how well or how easy you can transfer that energy, or that you can open up and share that way that you have about yourself. Because I think a
Mhm,
lot of women may look at a man that way, as like, what you want, what you trying to do,
mhm.
versus realizing you really just want to be with them. I'm not after
Yeah,
anything. And it's not necessarily even about the physical that men and women share together. Sometimes it's just your mere presence that I
yeah,
appreciate. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be about sex. It can be just being with you, having a conversation with you, playing
yeah,
cards, having dinner, being able to walk around the block and,
yeah,
experience
yeah.
things together, you know. But
100%. Sometimes
I'm
we
an
look
enigma.
different.
Everybody's not like me. I'm an odd.
Ah, man, I honestly, I feel like, anyone can achieve or experience the life they desire if they were willing to not get in the way of themselves, you know? Like there's another scripture I even think about where it says like God's not a respecter of persons, like just principles work for whoever puts them into practice. I can't tell you that I was always this way that I am as a husband and father, like when I was never a father before, but when I yielded to the process and what's going to make me a better person out of this, it was uncomfortable, but it was worth it. And it's made me stronger, and because I ultimately desire to have a healthy and prosperous family in that sense.
Well, you're still a young man, and hear you say some of these things, it's like, get out of town, man. But it goes to prove that, I think it goes to prove that sometimes in today's society, um, of course, not all men,
Yeah,
some men, our thinking has changed or is beginning to change, because we have to realize what's most important. And
yeah,
we do need money, and we need more of it than less of it, sooner than later, et cetera, et cetera. But life is not just all about money, just like it's not just all about sex.
Yep.
Sometimes the relationship is the paramount thing that makes living worth living for,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
and again, look, it takes a cornball to appreciate it. Not only say it, but appreciate it. But anyway, so as we get ready to wrap up, tell us again about your project and how people can contact you to find out more about loving art, making it a part of their lives, or revitalizing the art in you, whatever the name of it is, et cetera, et cetera.
All right. So, like I shared, I have a drawing comeback challenge, just a 5-day experience where we go over the things that stopped you from drawing in the first place, and understanding how easy and practical it is to draw and draw really well, and then get into the system and building it around your lifestyle so that, excuse me, despite however your life may be, you'll always be drawing, and most importantly, enjoying to do it even as you're getting better and proceeding with the next step. And there's also my book that has everything that I just mentioned all encompassed into one place, if you find that easy for you to engage with, not so social, not wanting to maybe attend a seminar. And you can definitely reach out to me on my YouTube channel, which is just my name, NDZABA Mngomezulu. And on Fridays, I have live Q&A sessions where I'm just drawing along, and people can get their art-related questions answered. Anything to do with what would it take to start, I demystify all that stuff and give people some value out of that. Yeah.
Okay. And where can they actually get the book?
The book is available on Amazon. So if you go into Amazon and type "Draw Again, Dream Again," you should find it.
Draw again, dream again. Draw again, dream again. Let's see. On Amazon. That's all right, man. Let me see. Can I guess it always helps to have my glasses on so I can see what I'm typing.
Yeah, I think so.
Draw again, dream again.
I was talking from experience.
I'm trying to tell you. I think so.
Yeah, man. No doubt. It's all right. Well, thank you again for your time and sharing, your experience and things that you have done and what you're currently doing, and, all the best to you. And, maybe down the line, I'll get a chance to work with you on some other things as well. But until then, I always tell people you got to be a part of the energy, folks. And until next time, folks, we'll see you on the flip side. So let's see how we can get up out of here. Bam.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
You're sexy, so good to me.